One. What's going on, guys? Welcome to a brand new episode of Profiling Passionate People. And man, oh man, we got football right around the corner. Currently preseason, but I got to get these interviews and these passionate fans in before the NFL season starts. So unfortunately, I could not find my Cincinnati Reds hat. You guys really don't want to see me in a schmedium with my Chad Ochocinco jersey. So without further ado, my cousin, my family, most diehard Cincinnati Bengal fan I know, Mr. Dana DeHesa. How you doing, sir?
Doing good. What's up?
What's up? What's up? Man, I love the little trophy room right there. Got the Bengal bee everywhere. I just love it. So who you rocking right there? Is that Mixon?
It's a Mixon jersey, of course.
Okay. We'll be talking about Mixon here in a second. So I'm curious, of all teams, and obviously we're cousins, so we know where we all grew up and everything. How did you become a Bengals fan?
Well, growing up, I had three brothers and one sister, Cowboys, Dolphins, Steeler, and another Cowboys fan.
Yeah.
But I was really close to my brother Chris, who was a Steeler fan. And then growing up in the early 80s, Steelers were the Bengals rivals. And we used to have a lot of wrestling matches and fights. So as he tortured me with Steeler stuff, I became, had a hate for the Steeler nation. So then I picked the rivals in the 80s. And
yes.
And that's how I basically became a Bengals fan. Just hated the Steelers, hate Steelers to a passion. If I see a car drive by now, if it wasn't for being nice, I would want to flip them off or, chase them down. But just learn to accept, how crappy that team is.
Yeah, I mean, that and being the awesome father figure that you are, clearly don't want to be flipping the bird off. So I'm curious, did Chris ever get like the terrible towel and do like a Mick Foley where it just like shoved it down your throat kind of thing? Or
no, he actually had a doll, and he would walk around the house and he would fight me with the doll. So it was like he actually still has it if you ever want to interview him, but he has a little doll, and I ripped the eye out, and it's kind of like our little rivalry. So he would walk around the house with this doll. That was like his favorite thing ever.
Yeah.
And would attack me with the doll and like beat me up with it, and then I would fight him back. But I was like, 5, 6, 7, 8 years old.
Yeah.
So, I'd go back and forth with him, and then we would watch the games together when they came on TV. So that's how like the rivalry really started. So we really hate each other.
Yeah, I mean, nothing like a sibling rivalry that turns into an actual NFL team rivalry, and it all makes sense. You guys are in the AFC North. We'll be talking about the rivalry between you guys. Obviously, me being a big Titans fan, anytime that we play the Steelers or they come to us, there's always an extra little something. And I just remember a couple of the Titans players way back when they grabbed a terrible towel and they started stomping on it and ripping it with their cleats and everything. So yeah, Danny, I love you, but both of us both know we hate the Steelers.
Yes.
So the Bengals, you've been part of this franchise for such a long time. I mean, you got the Carson Palmer days, the Chad Ochocinco days. I've seen your jersey collection. Do you mind telling the fans and the viewers, how many jerseys and who you got that are in the closet right now?
It kind of all starts, me and my wife have a pack. We try to go to one game a year. So we do one game of hers and one game of mine. So we've seen a bunch of different stadiums.
Nice.
I have all jerseys anywhere from starting with like a Boomer Esiason from a Warwick jersey to a Corey Dillon to Ochocinco to a Chad Johnson. I had pretty much all the starters from when we had the really good year to Carson Palmer. I had the TJ Hushmanzada. I probably got about at least 15 Bengal jerseys right now.
Okay.
And then the current jerseys I have I have the Mixon. I have a Bates. I also have just got a new the Chase jersey. I just bought Jordan the Burrows jersey. So, we're kind of on top of it. We had a couple old players that got, cut, like Geno Atkins. He's still around, but I'm not sure where he's at. And then, I have like the Dunlap, and then also, the Kirkpatrick, all of the older guys that kind of like went the other way. So,
man, I mean, that's a collection in itself. I met Geno Atkins when I was doing my time with ESPN, and one of the most coolest and humblest cats I've ever came across. So yeah, that is an absolute great collection. You mentioned the guy, Joe Burrow. I mean, he came out firing right away. The number 1 overall pick. The dude just walks with swagger. Yeah, he messes up his knee, but you got to be happy about this upcoming season and the fact that You have a healthy quarterback. You bring in his like top versatile weapon when he was down in the Bayou with LSU in Jamar Chase. You got the Chase jersey now. So we look at last season. Okay, 4-11-1, last in the AFC North. You look at this season, yes, you have your 6 games against the Ravens, the Steelers, and then the Browns. If you really look at the schedule, they actually have a chance to really do some damage, not only in the division, but Joe Burrow at the reins. I'm liking your guys' chances to do something this season, if not obviously in the future.
Yeah, I agree. I think with us playing the NFC North and also the AFC East, we're going to get a lot of the AFC West. We're going to get a lot of opportunities, to beat up on those teams that are struggling a little bit. But he did really well. He broke all the rookie records for passing. But I think the key for the Bengals this year was really going out and spending some money on the offensive line. And they had spent some money last year on offensive line, but the 2 guys they got last year were really injured. So now they're coming back with a 2nd-round pick that's going to help out, and then also the 2 guys they signed this year, and the guy they signed last year, they're going to be all new starters on the line. So you look at your Madden ratings, our lowest offensive lineman is a 74. So that kind of tells you like they're moving on up. They just got to put the right pieces in the right spot. I mean, the key last year was the defense. 4-11 comes down to not getting any stops, and this is why they revamped the whole defensive line, spent $100 million on that defensive line, and just trying to get into the right direction and put pressure on the quarterback. All new corners this year. Bates is rated a top 4 safety in the league, so you kind of have everything pushing in the right direction. We just got to tie it all together and not have any injuries. And kind of, you didn't have Mixon the whole year either. So you had a Pro Bowl, running back, a pro that didn't even get to play. That's coming off a full year of being healthy. So they have big expectations. We just got to see if they can tie it together, like I said.
Yeah, and that's exactly my point. This team, it used to be where, okay, we can just go into Cincinnati, or Cincinnati will come visit us and it'll just be a layup win. It'll be a blowout. You can put your money that, Cincinnati's going to lose, but these Bengals are serious. You add that big 3 of Burrow, Mixon, and Jamar Chase right now, and not even to mention T. Higgins too. That boy can ball out. So you're going to give Burrow weapons, but like you said, now that they're investing in their offensive line, giving him the proper protection that he needs, Bengals are going to be a team to not be in. It ain't going to be no layup. So, yeah. So, I mean, I know that we were talking earlier, but so you try to average at least 1 game a season that you get to go to. Obviously, last year you weren't able to because of COVID. So this upcoming season, as you've looked at the schedule, what games are you circling? Which games are you going to head to? What's your mindset behind that?
I think you're also missing. You got, I think you're missing. You got Audrey Tate, which is a 6'8" receiver that's kind of undercover that people don't know about, but he hasn't got a lot of playing time because he's been hurt. Yeah. Then you also have, who am I thinking? Tyler Boyd. He had a 1,000-yard receiver the first 2 years. Last year, he's in the slot this year. Yeah. So you're going to see something different with him in the slot because they're trying to put the tall receivers on the outside. But games we're circling this year, me and my wife are going. The family's all going to the Chicago Bears Bengals game in Chicago week 2. So that's gonna be a big game for us, just for a family rivalry with my wife being a Bears fan, and then my daughter, and then me and my son Bengals fans. And then we're also circling, the weekend before Thanksgiving, we're going to the Raider Stadium, to go handle those Raiders. So those are the 2 games that we will be at this year for sure. Okay. If they happen to make the playoffs, I think there will be some sort of a playoff game run for me to one of those games if we make it. So.
Yeah, that's absolutely great. Myself, a little personal question. I don't have kids. You obviously know that. But seeing your son becoming a Bengals fan, and I'm sure, him sitting beside you watching these games, how cool is that feeling? Now that you get to pass it on to another generation.
I think it's hard at first, when they're young, they don't really sit still and watch the game. So as he's gotten older, he went to his last game, I believe 2 years ago, right before COVID in San Diego. Was on the Jumbotron. He got to dance in front of everybody. So it was pretty cool. We got to go on the field. I got field passes. Was able to talk to a few people, got on the field. He ended up meeting Lewis as the coach. And then he also Lewis. Okay. I put a video up of him playing catch with the long snapper. So it's kind of cool. He got a nice real experience. Got to take some pictures on the field. But, it's nothing like that you hope and you want your kids to follow in your footsteps, but you got to ask them to let them go their own journey. Yeah. And he chose to, stick by me and choose his favorite players, and it's kind of similar to ones that I follow. I mean, Joe Burrow is not my favorite player, but I'm glad he picked somebody that I wasn't, a favorite of. And he's a big Reds fan too, so he has all Reds gear and follows the Reds. We go to all the games for the Reds, not just football. So no, it's nice. It's endearing that you have somebody with you to cheer with and watch the games and talk about the games, and it's not a family member or a friend.
That's so cool. I really love that. Now, if he was to ever wear that Steelers or Chris gets in his head and messes with his mind, grounded.
Oh, here he tried. Chris tried to bribe him $100 and some Fortnite gift cards, and my son actually turned it down. So,
hey,
robbery's been there, it just hasn't been successful yet. So,
oh, I love that. I love that. I love that. All right, so we're gonna wrap up the segment. We look at this upcoming season. We got 17 games. You guys start off against the Vikings. I've never been a fan of Kirk Cousins, and on my list, I actually have you guys winning in week 1. You take on Cousins and Jefferson with the Vikings. Realistically, because I know that you would love your Bengals to go 17-0 out of a 17-game season, what would you say the record would be?
I think trying to be realistic, I want to say 9-8, but I'm hoping for 10-7. I mean,
okay.
I always think we're going to split with Baltimore and possible the Steelers. That's kind of like the hope. And then also with Cleveland, that's 3 hard. I think we have the hardest division in football. So I think Steelers has been sweeping us the last couple of years, but I think with Ben getting a little bit older, and then Lamar trying to make him into a pocket passing quarterback a little bit more, I think we are going to be able to split at least one of those 2 games. If not, it still puts us against like the Jets. You got Detroit Lions.
Yeah.
We have the Packers. Obviously that's gonna be tough. The Bears, you don't know where they're going to be at. And then you have the Vikings, opening week. So like you have a bunch of games that are winnable. It doesn't matter if they're going to do. We have the Raiders. We have San Diego. And we have San Francisco Broncos. Those are all winnable games. I mean, Kansas City, I'm guaranteeing the L on that. But I mean, it's very possible we can go in there and be 11-6 or 10-7 this year. Yeah. We also can be 7-10. So it all depends on injuries and how the game's played, and if you're going to tie it and get a good momentum and go into the season. So I'm looking for 10-7, and that should be a playoff berth in my eyes. But
yeah,
I'm always looking ahead, and I'm always with a 2 or 3 win season, so I'm not the best person to judge my own team.
Yeah, I mean, I see them sneaking into one of those final wild card spots as long as they stay healthy. Joe Burrow does his thing, mixing those over 1,000. I can see both T. Higgins and Jamar Chase going over 1,000 yards receiving. Like you said, Boyd can definitely go over 1,000 as well, just out of the slot. That boy is very shifty and crafty. So there is a lot to look forward to. But before we end the segment, can I get a who day from you?
Oh, who day.
There we go. All right, my man. So 10-7, that's what I'm predicting. You're thinking the same thing. We just got to sit back and watch us some Bengal football this upcoming season.
Yep, tie it together. One season, one game at a time. That's the rule.
There you go. You stay safe when you go out to those stadiums. He's Dana, diehard, passionate Bengals fan. I'm Solomon. You guys stay passionate, and we'll catch you guys next time. Thank you.